Steve Jackson, Robin Thompson. How many of you heard of Robin Thompson before? And Tim Mai, Jeff Adams, Marco Kozlowski, Gary Boomershine, Lee Parker, Ron LeGrand. How many of you heard of Ron LeGrand before? Yeah, baby. Albert Lowry, he's an icon of the industry, been around a long time. How about Kathy Kennebrook? How about Mark Sumter, Curtis Brooks, Larry Goins? How many of you heard of Larry Goins before? Gerald Romine, Scott Shield, Dave Lindahl, apartment guy, right? How about Preston Ely, Don DeRosa, Pat Martin, Jason Rodriguez, Chris Kirshner, Lou Castillo, Bob Massey, and so many more, including Bob Diamond, Bob Leonetti, many other folks that have sat in seats just like you, and they went and did something with the knowledge that I gave them in their real estate businesses, because all these guys invested in my system years ago. Is that a good thing? Is that a yeah, baby? Yeah, baby. Now, we're going to have a lot of yeah babies tonight, because these are folks that actually are now teaching an aspect of the business. And they left me to teach you the business of the business. Now, in order to have a multi-million-dollar business, you got to have a dependable, predictable lead flow, right? You got to have some stuff happening in your world. So we're going to turn your business around tonight and have you look at it from a different point of view, an entirely different point of view. It's going to require thinking differently than how you were thinking when you came in the room tonight. So they call me the nation's leading expert on buying, selling, and holding property the most profitable way. How many of you love profits, baby? Yeah, profits are a good thing? Yeah, baby, that's a good thing. Well, we're going to talk about profits and how the money is really made in this business. I've been on Mentors Magazine. I've been on stages with people like Mark Victor Hansen, Susie Orman, Tom Hopkins, Brian Tracy, even Donald Trump. Real estate guy, huh? Isn't that exciting? I mean, you know, you look at somebody who can deal with government and be able to build buildings like he's been able to build. Now that's doing something. And there's some other amazing people. Dan Kennedy, you ever heard of Dan Kennedy? Bill Gates, some rather amazing people in this world. And now you start to think about, aha, now what about me, right? You don't care about me, you care about you, don't you? You care about you and your future and what's happening in your world. So we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to encourage you, get off that phone, stop looking at that text and email and all that stuff. Put that thing on vibrate or mute, since the rest of us don't care if you get a call. Is that right? Keep that to yourself, baby. Now I'm going to be giving away a couple of tickets to the Millionaire Jumpstart training I've got coming up in the ATL September 9th, 10th, and 11th. Now it's a 3-day training. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday coming up next month. And I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to come join me, because I'm going to teach you some things tonight. I'm going to go deeper tomorrow with the 4-hour training that I'm going to do tomorrow. We're going to gather at 8:30, so you're going to start networking. I'm going to start promptly at 9 o'clock. We're going to end, if we start promptly, we're going to end promptly at 1 o'clock. And I've got some stuff. Now, I know some of you have jobs. You ever heard call in sick? You ever heard call in and say, you know what, I need to take care of something this morning. I'll be in after 1 o'clock. Is that okay with you? Now, how,
baby.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Now you're talking. Now think about it. Are we talking about your future here?
Yeah, baby.
How many of you know your future is not working with that J-O-B?
Yeah, but
Just over what? Broke. J-O-B, just over broke. You see, the thing and the truth of the matter is, that thing called Social Security ought to be called social insecurity, right? There's just not enough money coming in on a monthly basis to take care of business, is it? No. nobody should ever rely on that thing, because that thing was set up as a different thing back in the day than what it is now. So when you really look at the numbers don't make no sense. Numbers don't make no sense, and they never are going to make any more sense. See, listen to me. 10,000 people a day are turning 65 years old for the next 16 years. 4,000 people a day are turning 85 years old for the next 16 years. Say what? That's a big deal, isn't it? Now that happens to be where we are right now. People are living longer, aren't they? So therefore, they didn't plan for that. Social Security system was designed for you to die. You were supposed to die by 65 years old. And then there'd be enough money left for the leftovers. The people that went past 65, there'd be enough money for them. But everybody's living now. So they're going, we're going to have to figure something out with this. This is a problem. So now, what I'm going to encourage you to do is start looking at your life from a different point of view and recognize that you are responsible for your Social Security program. You are responsible for your future and your income and your ability to cover your retiring years. So we're going to talk about creating a retirement plan, even if you're young, because young is good too.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Now what I'm going to share with you, yeah, baby. So tonight I'm going to focus on selling the properties in a very unique and unusual way. And then tomorrow I'm going to expand and add to the training that I'm covering tonight. Now to give you a little bit about my background, I was the vice president and the president of the Real Estate Leadership Association of America. I was the founding president of the National Real Estate Investors Association that is still in business to this day. In 1993, I took this organization and formed National REIA. And in doing so, now we've got an amazing group of folks around the country that are part of the National Real Estate Investors Association, where now we are Home Depot's largest customer. We represent over $1 billion in sales with Home Depot. Is that a beautiful thing?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. That's a good thing. I was vice president and president, now president emeritus of the Georgia Real Estate Investors Association, one of the oldest in the country. And I was the chairman of the Small Owners Council of the Apartment Association. So I've done a lot of different things in the real estate industry. And I can tell you that what you're doing right now is exactly what you ought to be doing right now. There is nothing better than what you're doing right now. Now, to give you a little bit more about my background, this is my mom. God rest her soul. Wonderful person on the planet. She taught me about being a volunteer. She taught me about giving of myself. She came over on the Queen Mary as a war bride. She had met the love of her life, an American trooper. He turned out to be an abuser and an alcoholic. And she had to get rid of him.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. And then she met my father, her second mistake. So she ended up having to get rid of him, and it ended up just being the two of us. Now, just imagine, no brothers, no sisters, no uncles, no aunts, no cousins, no grandparents, nobody but just the two of us. And the sad and challenging thing was, my mother did not understand money. To my mother, money was something to be spent. And if you didn't have it, you spent it anyway. So she ended up getting with a bunch of loan sharks. And I got to see what life is like when you get paid too much interest And then they try to refinance you, and all of a sudden you're in trouble. And that's exactly what happened. She got herself in debt in a horrible way. And I know what it's like to be on the other side of the door when the rent man comes knocking. And my mother's saying, "Shh, don't answer the door." And I'm saying, "Why don't I answer the door?" She said, "Because I don't have the money." I said, "Well, tell them." She said, "No." I said, "I'm going to have the money on Friday. Just shut up, and we'll give them the money on Friday." See, I know what it's like. She didn't want to face them. She didn't want to say how things really are. See, that's the reality of life. So I'm a little boy, and I'm seeing how it's working. Now, if you don't believe I was poor, this is me in our car, and see, the tires don't even match. We used to buy rich people's tires. You know, rich people's tires, it still has some tread left on it. So we used to buy them one at a time. Whenever you needed a tire, you just got that tire and you put it on there. See, I know what it's like. Our dining table was a Samsonite card table until I was 17 years old. It wasn't as nice as this one. Remember them Samsonite card tables with the belly in the middle? And the metal chairs? Bought it with S&H green stamps. How many of you remember S&H green stamps? Yeah, baby. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? I know you did. They used to give us stamps for going to the store and buying groceries and gas, and you put them in these little books, and you went to a store and redeemed the books instead of money. And so you got stuff. So that's how we bought a table of chairs with S&H green stamps. And we furnished our whole apartment with S&H green stamps. See? I know what it's like. But I had the blessing of meeting my mom's friends. I called them aunts and uncles even though they weren't. And so I had Aunt Mabel and Uncle George. Now Aunt Mabel told me something at 8 years old that changed my life. And I want to give you this. She said to me, we bought the duplex. She lived in a duplex. She said, we bought the duplex. She went to the bank and qualified for a loan, told me the people on the other side were paying enough money in rent to cover the mortgage. Now what was she really saying? She was living for free! She was living for free, and here we are hiding out from the rent man. And that's when I realized there's parallel universes. Parallel universes. There's people with knowledge and there's people without knowledge. And that knowledge is available for everyone. Knowledge is available for everyone. So here we are. If I hadn't been given that information at a young age. Now I didn't know anything about money. I didn't know anything about credit. I didn't know anything about anything. Right? But I heard her. And then the next year she bought another one. And the people on the other side paid enough rent to cover the mortgage, and the other money was hers. And the next year they bought another one, and I started watching how they lived. Aunt Mabel didn't like to cook, so they went out to the steakhouse every night. And they brought home leftovers for their chihuahuas. I said, Aunt Mabel, bow wow. Bring me some of that leftover steak, honey. This is good stuff. So I started to watch how they were living, and they were living a good life because Aunt Mabel bought a new Cadillac every other year. And they were living good. And then she called me one day. She said, come on over here and help me move. See, she bought another one and another one. Now she had 5 duplexes on the same street. Talk about target marketing, right? And then she said, come on over here and help me move. I said, move where? She said, a brand new house and a brand new subdivision, all brick home. Really? How did you do this, Aunt Mabel? She said 2 words. Accumulate property. Now actually, she had a speech of me. She talked like this, so when he talked, you had to listen, because if you didn't listen, you didn't understand what he's saying. She said, accumulate property. Now, I'm sharing that with you to know that it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what your background is. It don't matter what your story is. It don't even matter how you talk. You can make money in this business. You can make crazy money in this business. And she did something unique. She bought and held property. Whoa, not so unique, is it? Now, she told me, she said, you need to buy a house. I was 18 years old at the time. She said, you need to buy a house. I live in an apartment. Aunt Mabel, I can't qualify for a loan. I can't qualify my way out of a paper bag. What are you talking about? She says, I don't know, but you got to talk to my friend, Realtor Sue. So sure enough, Realtor Sue comes over, like I'm going to buy a house or something. And we go riding around in her Cadillac. And we're looking at houses like I'm going to buy a house or something. And then all of a sudden, we look at a house and I'm making an offer. And all of a sudden, I buy a house. At 18 years old, I put a house under contract. I ain't even ever lived in a house. I don't have no lawnmower. I don't know how to mow a lawn.